When joining Paw Patrol, there was always the risk of some pup never coming back. After all, when you just went to the fires, dangerous locations, fought criminals, dealt with storms, and even such other dangerous tasks, there was always the thought of being killed. Ryder had always made sure each of the pups were sure about joining this danger and risk-taking group, even if it cost them their own lives. And every one of them said yes. However, after such a perfect record of no losses of life, the idea of one of them could die never struck them for a moment, until it finally happened. Nobody, pup or human, could believe it. Everyone thought it was a prank, but it soon became clear, and the news spread throughout the Adventure Bay. Marshall was dead. Not by fire or any other fire dogs before him, but a snake. A random snake that came out of nowhere. The day after it happened, it was ID'd to be the black mamba snake, which is an endemic to parts of the sub-Saharan Africa. One of the deadliest snakes in the world, whose bite is said to kill a human within 30 minutes or less. A pup literally had no chance with a single bite, let alone free. Everyone wondered how such a deadly and rare snake could be found in Adventure Bay's woods, even though they weren't such close to a place. Regardless, it didn't change the fact that the Adventure Bay had lost one of its most beloved heroes, and the Paw Patrol just lost one of their own. The pups all took the news as expected with tears, hugs, and screams of denial, but it only handled grief by their own way. Rocky stared in the now empty pup house that had been decorated with flowers, stuffed animals, pictures, and candies from those wishing to give their sympathies. He would definitely stare at it dawn to dusk, sometimes crying, sometimes saying nothing, but never moving from the spot. Zuma and Rubble, the youngest ones, never left Ryder's side, often falling into the moments of crying. The two needed their father figure to hold them for comfort, or one of the older pups. Zuma would sometimes cry out Marshall's name in the middle of the night while having a nightmare. Rubble had hidden all the parts of his Apollo stuff due to it reminding him of Marshall, who was the second biggest fan next to him. Everest, despite having seen death before in the Arctic, was also heartbroken over Marshall's death. She tried to be the adult and stay strong, but one night she broke down and howled a mournful aquarium below the glowing moon. Tracker, who had seen death as well, offered to his players to even mention that the monkeys in the jungle carved a statue for Marshall in his honor due to the Mandy's remembrance of him. Yet the no two pups had it harder than Chase and Sky. Sky had been numbed the first day and then endlessly crying the next before shutting herself from the world in her pup house. She barely ate or sleep, only coming out to help Ryder with the funeral preparations. The sight of her made the pups feel as if it was clear that losing a boyfriend broke something inside of Sky. No longer that she yipped around, flipping, or even speaking with all the joyful passion she always had. It was like a part of her died with Marshall, and the rest of it was slowly dying within her. Meanwhile, Chase buried himself just to make sure Marshall had the rest of the funeral Adventure Bay ever had. Working with Ryder, with the help of the townspeople, he spent every day looking after either the pups or working to make sure the funeral was perfect as it could be. Anything for his best friend. Anything for his brother. However, when the night came and there was no work to be done, everyone at the lookout would just hear Chase sobbing his heart out, crying out Marshall's name. Nobody said or did anything, mostly to respect Chase's pride. They all knew that he was devastated by their loss. Yet they didn't even know the whole story. "I killed him," Chase thought. The same could have been said for the past 4 days, rubbing his soaked tear eyes. Chase looked at the photo of him and Marshall at Paw Patrol's first anniversary. It was the two promised to be best friends, and the rescuers till the very end. And I betrayed him. I got him killed. I wished for it to happen. Chase had all but thrown the monkey's paw into the ocean when he came home. He cursed it. The gypsy dog, he cursed his wish, and he cursed himself the most. Every single moment he awoke, he could only hear the cries of Marshall screaming in pain while Sky pleaded for him to save the Dalmatian. That night he saw the last moments of his best friend's life before his very eyes over and over again. There was no denying it now. The monkey's paw was real. Chase's wish had came true, but not in the way he wanted. He never wanted Marshall to die. He never wanted anyone to get hurt. He wanted Sky, but his feelings were nothing compared to the friendship that he had with Marshall. "It's all my fault. I'm a murderer. I killed my best friend." Chase wanted to confess everything, but what proof did he have? Nobody would believe him. Could court convict him? He was going to carry his sin himself until he died and was judging for killing his best friend out of jealousy? Chase even thought of ending his life now. He couldn't do that to the team. They were already suffering the loss of Marshall. With nothing else, Chase put everything into making Marshall's funeral as perfect as he could be. It was the only thing he could do for his apprentice, as tomorrow he would be saying farewell to his best friend. With the whole town arriving at the event, even visitors from outside, it was held outside the town square. The whole garden of flowers arranged from red to white to symbolize Marshall's colors, while the outer area was laced with black ribbons and funeral wreaths. Banners holding both the Paw Patrol logo and Marshall's pup tag symbol waved on the lampposts, while everyone could see the photos of Marshall smiling alone or his friends up on display. Seats were everywhere for those wishing to join the set, but they weren't enough, and some had to stand in the back. At the stage, holding some multiple funeral wreaths and Marshall's name on as well, the words, "Rest in Peace," it stood in front of the hall, as well as the pandemonium in the center for what someone to speak. In front of it, between it and the growing crowd, was closed red and black oak coffin that was the size for a human adult, but inside it was none other than Marshall. Surrounding it were nearby hundreds of flowers of all kinds, decorating as if though it was a feign of beauty instead of sorrow. All of the Paw Patrol, including Everest and Tracker, were in the front row with Ryder, Katie, Carlos, and Jake. Chase, from his seat, could see so many people picked out more memories ones, such as Captain Turbo, his cousin Alex, and his grandpa. Farmers Al and Yumi, the princess and Earl Barkeningberg, Ace, Luke, Stars, and the daring Danny X. Even old enemies like Mayor Humdinger and Sweetie were all among the crowd, looking just as sad. It only showed as much as not only Marshall had touched the lives of so many people, but how Paw Patrol did. It only further pushed the dagger into the guilt into Chase's heart. However, as every tear, sob, and sniff for Marshall, it was because of him. He did his best not to cry on his tuxedo, but it was getting very hard to do so. His thoughts were interrupted as Ryder walked out of the casket. With every step taken, he had a huge weight on his shoulders. Despite having to see a body, even helped prepare it, Chase was still feeling the urge to look away as Ryder slowly opened the casket to see. Many let out gasps or sobs, including Sky, who was being held by Everest, silently crying with her. Ryder had spent the whole fortune and making sure Marshall's body looked good for the funeral. It was so clean that it was so hard to believe that once every had a purple face, while a pile of blood, saliva, and urine. Katie had even groomed him to look like a prince as he laid inside the velvet cushions. As his head was resting in large pillows, some of his favorite toys and tools, like his teddy bear and pup tag, that were placed around him, as well as flowers. His suit was light red, matching well with his spotted fur, and his paws folded gently over his stomach, as if it wasn't for his eyes closed. The bright smile of the corpse was displaying of how it made you think Marshall was alive and well. The mayor came up on stage, dressed in black, and began her speech. Chase didn't even listen to it. All he could do was focus on the peaceful corpse that lay before him. Everything was wrong. Marshall shouldn't be dead. No, Chase deserved to die. He had wished for this, but it happened, and he couldn't change a thing. He dared not to use the monkey's paw again, even if he wanted. It was already gone. How could a Paw Patrol work out without Marshall? Would they replace him? Could he even be replaced? Everyone was special with Paw Patrol and fitted in the special role. Marshall was the heart of the team, and he was always the happiest, most outgoing, and the most cheerful. Every joke he made, every kind of laugh, every crazy klutzy move, and all kept their spirits up. Who would have kept him now that the laughter was gone and dead? A nudge from Rocky made him wake from his thoughts as he saw the pups getting in line to face the casket. He missed the whole speech as well as Ryder's, too lost in their own thoughts. He solemnly got up and waited in line with the rest of the pups and Ryder. Their owners gave them a sad smile and gently patted Marshall's head. "You were a good dog, Marshall. I'll miss you, and we always will remember you." He moved on, wiping his tears, as Zuma stepped forward next. He looked into the coffin and sniffled. I just wanted to say how much I looked up to you, dude. I'm sorry. I can't." He quickly rushed away, unable to hold his tears. Rubble was next and looked in the coffin and stared at Marshall for a few minutes before dropping in the first issue of Apollo's comics. Without a word, Rubble moved on, looking at that he wanted to follow Zuma and run, but kept to himself. Everest was next as she looked down at the eternal sleeping fire pup. "I hope you're happy up there in heaven, Marshall. I know you're looking down on us, and I hope you know that we'll miss you greatly. Please be happy at peace." She gently kissed his paw before leaving. Tracker was next, leaving a rose to lay on the coffin before muttering that sounded like a prayer in Spanish. When he was finished, he bowed his head and did the sign of the cross and left. Rocky followed by sadly, looking at his friend and lowering his head. "I didn't really think this was an afterlife, but there is one. I can think of no pup who deserves it more than you." He rubbed his eyes. "I'll miss you so much, Marshall. I thought of you was one of my best friends. I just wish we had more fun time together." He then looked at Sky, who gave her a hug before letting her step forward. With tears streaming down her face, all Sky could do was just look at the pup she loved with all of her heart. Chase looked into those eyes, no longer feeling the jealousy that he once had, but instead only regret. Regret that he couldn't accept their love sooner. Regret that he had torn up his two best friends. A regret that he would carry forever. "I love you, Marshall," whispered Sky as he kissed his forehead. "I'll love you forever." She then slowly walked away, leaving Chase as the last one. As he walked forward, his paws echoing his head as he stepped up. He looked down at his peaceful friend and saw himself there. He saw Sky there as well. Zuma, Rocky, and Ryder, everyone. A piece of everyone in Paw Patrol lay in the coffin with Marshall, right by his side. This wasn't just a funeral for one pup. It was a funeral for all of them, for their innocence. Every mission, every game, every challenge they faced would have a single moment in their lives forever. Nothing could ever be the same again. There would always be the thought of them gone forever. Not enjoying life with them, they moved on with their lives. Chase hadn't just destroyed his friendship with the pup that he loved like his brother. He just didn't ruin the romance between the two souls. He shattered the team. "I'm sorry," was all he could muster before leaving the next person beside them to say their goodbyes. He made his way to Sky and hugged her, letting him cry on his shoulders. One by one, all the pups and Ryder joined, but it felt incomplete with only 8.